Hello and welcome to Love Anything Art. Today I will show you how I made this little pretty heart necklace. Hey, welcome to my channel. Yeah. All right. Okay, so I have made a heart template just using a piece of scratch paper. You could also use index cards, which is this bigger piece here. Basically what you want to do is make a smaller heart shape. And then once you have that cut out, you're going to trace out a heart shape around that, making it quite a bit larger than the smaller one. Trying to make it as even as possible distance from the middle heart out to the outside heart. And I just want to take a moment and welcome everybody to my channel. I am so glad you are here. I hope you are new. I hope you are a returning subscriber. And I just hope that you're here for all the fun. And if you would take a moment to hit that subscribe button if you are new, it does help out my channel a lot. And I do have over 200 videos for you to binge watch. Oh yes, have fun, playlists and all. Okay, I have my bigger heart all nice and traced out, and I'll just cut that bad boy out. Just see there, it fits quite lovely right there in the middle. Oh, so pretty. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You can have a nice lopsided organic heart if you want to. And I have some really pretty like glitter clay. If you are interested in that, I'll leave a link in the description box below. This is the brand and the name of it. And not a lot of people like glitter, so I am sorry if you don't like glitter, but I think it adds a little pizzazz to my piece, so I really like the glitter. I don't use a lot of glitter clay in my projects, but hey, I like this glitter clay. Hey. Just roll it out and condition it. Primo is a little bit hard, so you do have to work with it a little bit. And I do have it, I'd say, pretty thin. You want to trace out your larger heart shape on the glitter clay, or whatever clay color you choose. Just choose some colors that look good together though. Obviously, right? Or you could go with something really funky and fresh and have a bunch of different wild, crazy colors together. It's your piece, you should do whatever you want. I'm just here to help generate ideas. I know it's hard to come up with ideas sometimes, so I do take about a week to plan out my idea and come up with it. So, enjoy this few-minute video. I'm going to place my smaller heart on the center of my cutout heart and go ahead and cut that out just using an X-Acto knife. I do love my X-Acto knife. It's quite exact, one would say. Okay, I'll stop with the cheesiness. And make sure you save that center part. We will use that in just a few minutes. It looks quite pretty like this. You could actually just make a necklace or earrings out of this. That would be quite lovely. And I have some of this really pretty clay, and I've used it in a previous project. The only thing I don't like about this color is when you bake it, it comes out really dark and not like this beautiful color it is before it's baked. It's still a pretty color, but I really enjoy the way it looks before it's baked. But it looks really good with the project in the end, so I'm really glad that I chose it. You'll want to roll that out into a really thin snake, then cut off your end so it's nice and crisp. And with that, you're going to place it around the exterior rim of your cutout large heart. Make sure it's basically the same height so that when you poke it down with your fingers and flatten it, that it's the same level and same thickness. When you get to the top of the heart, just cut it off. And that way you can keep the edge flush with the inside of the heart. And then just take the piece that you cut off and attach it right there at the top. And then you don't have to worry about dips or bends or anything. And you can get to the bottom, cut off your excess. The only thing about that is you will have to smooth out the seams. You can leave them in there if they don't bother you. But I did work at mine for a little while and got them as smooth as possible. Remember, when you bake it, it does kind of level out a little bit too, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And then be sure to flip it over and do the back side also. That way you have smooth seams on both sides. And the clay is nice and connected. We will be putting a piece of clay on the back, so you won't really be able to see the back so much, but it just helps with the bonding process. I'm going to place my heart on a tile. I'm just going to bake that directly on there in the oven. Make sure that you have everything exactly like you want it, all the edges, everything smooth and trimmed out before putting it in the oven to bake. Pretty thin from the side, you see there? Bake time! And I ran some water over my tile, and that kind of loosened up my piece of clay that was stuck on there. You could also just run a tissue blade behind it to get it off. All right, so now we're back to the heart that we cut out from the larger heart earlier. Just going to use my finger and kind of flatten and smooth out the edges. I do want it to be slightly bigger than the hole that it was cut out of. As you'll see here, you can test it up there. It just is very, very snug in there with a little bit left over on the outside. You can see there where it made the little rim around there. And then I'm going to use some scrap clay. I picked a color that looked good with my heart colors. So I have a bunch of this purple clay and I'm going to use that. And I thought it would be fun to actually use some leftover cane pieces that I did in a previous project. And if you are interested in these canes or how I made them, I will leave a link in the description box below and you can check the video out. Basically, you'll just want to cut off really thin pieces of whatever scrap clay, or it would actually look pretty if you put that in there with all those little spirals in there. That would be pretty too. But I'm gonna make like little beads out of them almost. So just shaving off very thin pieces of my cane and then rolling that into a ball. And it still keeps that nice swirly pattern that I love so much. I'll place that right there in the center. And I'll do the same with the other cane piece. Just taking off pieces, and you can make them larger or smaller by taking away clay or adding it. But you want to make a whole bunch of those and fill up your heart. I did alternate between pink and then the lighter color pink, and just kind of bouncing back and forth between those two colors. I have them all laid on here, just gently putting my finger on there to flatten and smooth it out a little bit. I'm not going to make sure that everything is completely smooth. I kind of like the little bumpiness of it and how each piece of the ball is separate from the other, so I'm not going to make it really smooth. You can if you want, you can burnish it, but like I said, I kind of like the, I guess, the bubbly look to it. So that's what I wanted to do with mine. But feel free to experiment and do whatever you want. And it is a little bit bigger than I wanted because I did not take into consideration how much space adding those little bubbles on there would be. So I am going to have to play with mine just a little bit so that I can manipulate it to get it up and into that cutout heart shape. You can shave off if yours is too big, or just use your fingers and press it in so that it makes it a little bit smaller. And also, so that I can have more of a pop-out shape, I'm going to put my shape on the back of a spoon and then kind of manipulate the shape a little bit more to make it a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to pop that into the heart that I baked. Just applying gentle pressure, and it just kind of slides up in there. And then just kind of work it off the spoon a little bit. And don't worry about the back, it's going to be covered up, so if you're like freaking out at this point, it's going to be covered up, so it's all good. I'm going to try to pop it out a little bit more, just using my finger as a little bit of pressure, just popping the heart shape out. And I have mine the way I want it to be, so I'll just need to shave off so that it is flush on the back, just removing all those bulgy pieces that are back there. And then you have scrap clay, and the circle never ends. I really do enjoy scrap clay projects though, really, I do. You just never really know what you're gonna get. And then for the back, you'll just have to choose a color, and I decided to use more of my scrap clays to try and get rid of it, because I do have quite a bit. So I took a clump of some that I had left, and basically I'm just going to work that into a color, and since there's a lot of black in there and there's some yellow, it does come out with a pretty like hunter greenish kind of color. I actually really like that color, but that's me. So just be aware of that, or you can use a solid color if you have a beautiful color that you think it would look good with your project. I just wanted to further get rid of my scrap clay, and I actually really like that green and red together, so it works out really well. And again, using my handy dandy X-Acto knife to cut out the shape of my heart. It doesn't have to be perfect. I am going to put some texture on it, so nothing has to be perfect. And you'll see there, you can also put some Bacon Bond if you feel more comfortable with baking that, but I'm going to smear my edges so the clay is going to be stuck together pretty well. Just go around and make it as smooth as you would like it, or you can leave it a little bit rough, more organic looking. Then I'll just use my tool, you can use whatever you have, and just go ahead and make a texture on the back. If you have a sponge, like a texturing sponge, you could use that too. You could also use a stencil on the back of this if you wanted to. Just being sure to go around the rim and the edges also to make those nice and textured. And this time I will bake it on a piece of paper so that it is not all shiny. Just be sure it's really nice and flat on your piece of paper so that you don't have any air bubbles underneath, and it bakes nice and flat. And this is it. I did not put any resin on there. You could put resin on the center heart if you wanted to, or on just the outside heart, But you can kind of do whatever you want. I think it looks really nice like this. And it has some of the little glitter pieces from the front because I love glitter. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!